Hello and welcome back to another edition of Speculative Dude Reviews. I'm your host, Speculative Dude. Now today we're going to be taking a look at another video game along the similar veins of the Initial D game that I showed you before. Of course, everybody knows I love racing games. It's possibly more than any other style. But sometimes series come and go, they rise and fall, and they don't always meet your expectations. There's one series that I really wasn't all that familiar with beyond a few months ago, despite the fact that it was popular, was Forza Motorsports. Once again, a very popular game, but I'd never really gotten into it myself. Couldn't really tell you why, just never did. But when I sat down about 3 months ago with Forza 4, I was, to say the least, intrigued. It has a good career mode. It is an excellent car, or similar. I'm using the word similarities here, but it's the appearance of the cars is very accurate in the games. They work very hard on it. The tracks are wonderful. They do a great job with maintaining the integrity of these professional circuits in the video game. And above and beyond all that, it had so many cars. It just blew my mind. It had some of my favorite cars in history that aren't race cars. I mean, these cars are, some of them are just okay, normal cars. Some of them are pieces of junk. But they had all these different cars in here. Everything from a DeLorean. Like, well, that's not a race car. It's a kind of a cool car, but it's not a race car. It was in there. They had my personal favorite car of all times. It had an 87 Trans Am GTA. So it's really not a high-performance car, despite its really cool appearance and its popularity, especially with the Knight Rider crowd. But it's not a super special car, and it's not even all that rare. But it's in the game. Heck, if you want to go for forgotten classics, the Hudson Hornet. They actually have one of those in here. I mean, wow! Talk about a trip down memory lane. And so seeing this game, I really got into it. However, I heard that there was going to be a sequel coming out that was going to make some changes. Forza Horizon. Now, while there aren't the variety of cars that's in Forza Horizon is not as many as in Forza 4. It's a little bit more mainstream. Some of them I have to admit I scratch my head as to why they would put certain cars in versus others, but copyrights being what they are, I can understand something. Now, they are putting out monthly packages to increase the rate of cars, but if you're expecting to see a lot of the cars from the last game, you are going to be disappointed. But for the moment, let's go take a look at the game and we'll get some opinions from there.
An interesting change of pace for this series is the open world driving feel. Well, you pretty much have to drive to most of the race locations. That makes it very interesting. It gives you a lot more time to collect popularity points, and it gives you a pretty cool view of the city and the state around you, because this takes place, unlike the last games where they have all taken place on professional circuits, these take place on street courses in Colorado. You're basically driving to a race meet in Colorado that will take place over several days. One thing that I love is that pretty much everything garners you popularity points. It is interesting to watch yourself climb the rankings, albeit slowly, and while I haven't actually figured out what the popularity rankings does, it is kind of neat. And when I say everything, I mean pretty much everything, from power slides to drifts to simple burnouts. Every little thing gives you a few points off. I suppose I should mention the GPS voice. While it is kind of useful sometimes, Most of the time it just comes off as a little bit annoying. But I suppose if you're not really paying attention to the green mark on the road, it could help you out a little bit. Personally, I just thought it was kind of meh. And one other thing that I will also mention is that your car does not take physical damage while driving, which is kind of a plus, even if it's just cosmetic. Now, granted, you can turn cosmetic damage on if you should choose so, but there really isn't a whole lot of point to it. Now, during each one of the loading screens, when you're changing between street driving and racing, a few things are going to pop up on the screen. For example, how many stunts you pull, the different kinds of stunts, the different speeds you've taken, and even who your rival racer is right now. At every level of racing in here, starting at the bottom and going up, you'll have one specific racer who is always in the race with you, no matter which race you're in. Now, in this game, just like previous incarnations of Forza Motorsports, you are racing in the class system. So only cars that are in certain classes can participate in certain races. Now, while there are other races that are limited even further, for example, only all-wheel drive cars, or only European cars, or in this case, only Ferraris can enter, every race will be the starting definition of each race will be what tier your car is in. For example, the Ferrari F40 that I'm driving is an S-Class. Now, while that can be a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, it does tend to make the racing fairly even, which means it will be a challenge, and there's no way you're going to cakewalk over anyone. Unfortunately, one of the biggest detriments to this is that for some reason, 9 times out of 10, your opponents are almost always going to leave you in the dust right off the line, which makes you scrambling to play catch-up. Another thing that I'll mention is that every car handles uniquely. Now, obviously, I can't vouch for whether or not there's any realism to the level of steering in these, but it is nice to see that each car is given pretty much a defining character, if you will. This F40, for example, handles way different than a Diablo that's tuned to the same level. They just are very different cars, and they're portrayed very differently in the game, as they should be. Another interesting thing to note in this game versus other games like, for example, Need for Speed, it is that because you're in the class system, it forces you to become a better driver. If you can't learn how to maneuver your car and handle better and drive better than the computer, you're not going to win no matter how fast your car is. As you can see, getting used to a track helps you out immensely. As you can see, by the time I reached my final lap, I was going a lot smoother, though still bumping into a few things. If you can learn to take it steady and easy through the corners, you'll have this game licked. One of my favorite things to do at the end of the race is pull up the leaderboard and watch as the others cross the line to see just how much time is elapsed between us. After that, it's just a matter of looking at the reward box and seeing how much you actually won. Now, one of the things that is interesting about this game is an area called Race Central. It's a circle of shops with one booth being literally called Race Central, while being surrounded by your tune-up shop, the auto showroom, which has tons of cars to choose from, and the spray booth where you can paint your car different colors or even purchase skins that other people have uploaded for their cars. As you can see, there are still a ton of cars in here, despite not being as many as in Forza 4. And from pretty much just about any automaker you can think of is represented here, even if their entire lineup isn't as good a quality. I have to admit, I was a bit disappointed when Mitsubishi only had the Lancer Evo 6 and 10 in here. But considering the 6 is one of my favorite cars to drive, I won't complain too much. Another thing that's interesting is what are known as barn finds. If you listen to the radio on your car, periodically they will announce that a car's been found in a barn somewhere. If you can find it, you get to put that car in your inventory and keep it. It's one of the fun little bonuses that you can find in this game, and some of the cars, while being cool cars, aren't really all that great. But there's a couple that are really good cars to get if you can. While of course the exotic and tuner market are well represented, so are the American domestics, as you can see by Ford, Chevy, and Dodge. But of course we can't forget what is currently the fastest production car on the face of the planet, the Bugatti Veyron Supersport. As you can tell, I'm pretty well into this game. I'm not really sure how far I am as far as percentage-wise to completion, but you can see from my collection of cars in my own garage that I'm probably a fair amount of the way there. Most of the cars I have been because they were necessary for certain races. Only one or two of them have been because, hey, I thought that was a cool car, so I wanted it. And then a few of the others have been actually barn finds.
So that's my opinion of Forza Horizon, latest entry into the Forza Motorsport series. Overall, I thought it was really great. I was impressed. While considering Forza 4, I would have liked to have seen a few more cars, but I wasn't disappointed in the number of cars either. The tracks felt great. I loved the free roaming. And one thing I forgot to mention in the video is always look for discount signs. There's 100 of them, and every one you knock over gives you 1% discount off the price of upgrades. Be on the lookout for those. I'd have to say it's probably my favorite racing game so far this year, and I know that's saying a lot considering Need for Speed Most Wanted came out. I've been a little disappointed with that one, so, you know, we'll have to see where Need for Speed goes from here. But as of the moment, I really am loving this one. Okay. So, until next week, have a good weekend, and Speculative Dude out.